Hello, I'm Aiden.
And I'm Josh, and we're your hosts for Undead Ramblings. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about stuff that we enjoy, like games, movies, that sort of thing. We've got a bit of a content thing for you, where we're going to cover all the sort of stuff that you can expect from this podcast, and I'm going to let Aiden do that for you.
Thank you very much. On this episode, this pilot episode, we're going to go... we've got 4 topics to cover. We're going to introduce who we are, what the expectations are, what you as listeners can expect from us, and what we expect from you. We'll then, as a little bit of fun, towards the end of the episode, we're going to go over one thing Josh and I like and dislike from each of the Call of Duty World at War zombies maps. And then lastly, we're going to go over what you can expect in next episode. So, kicking us off, who we are, or who are we? I'm Aiden. I live in the northeast of England. I have a wife and a daughter. And I've been playing Call of Duty Zombies for, since, when did Black Ops 1 come out?
I believe it was 2010.
Yeah? So it was just, well, it was just about midway through Black Ops 1's life cycle. I've mainly been playing Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer, and I didn't get Black Ops 1 until after Ascension had dropped and shortly before Call of the Dead had come out. And my first zombies map was Untoten, which I absolutely loved and fell in love with our Call of Duty characters, Verrückt and all of that lot. And here's the funny thing, I didn't get Ascension straight away, but I got Call of the Dead first and then Ascension. And ever since then I've been playing zombies more or less in every incarnation of it. When did we start playing with each other, Josh?
I'm not entirely sure when it was exactly, but it was. We started playing World War II together primarily. But it was through the YouTube channel, wasn't it? That we started. Started talking. Mm-hmm. And we've just kind of gone from there, haven't we? Like with The Darkest Shore, where we got stuck on that for a very long time.
yeah, that was it. I think Black Ops 4 had come out, because I don't remember playing Black Ops 3 much with you, but
yeah,
we definitely started like talking and playing with each other doing the World War 2 maps, because they are not solo friendly whatsoever.
Absolutely not. And hilariously, we initially tried to do them over text, which did not end very well. Spelling
Meistermeuchlers over Discord was an absolute torture.
I can't remember what we called them, but it wasn't that. We did have another name for them, though.
Wasn't it like... I
think we just called them assassins
or something.
Yeah, that is the translation, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I think that's what we ran with.
Yeah. So, yep, that's me. Josh, would you like to introduce yourself and what was your zombies map, or beginning of your zombies journey, really?
Yes. I'm also from the Northern England, as you can probably tell. I've primarily been the channel holder for the last couple of years, the person who's been uploading the soundtrack and all that sort of thing. Initially with...
Thank you for letting this be on your podcast, letting your channel be the space for our podcast.
You know I'd let you anyway. Come on. But yeah, so for me, it kind of started at the beginning with World at War. I remember completing the campaign one day when my cousin was around and first experiencing zombies, because I was told back then, at the time, that there was a zombies mode in World at War, but I didn't believe anybody at that point. So it was quite a surprise to me when I first played it, and yeah, it's. Do you
remember what?
Sorry, what were you going to say?
Sorry, I was just going to ask. Do you remember the first time you saw that intro cutscene?
I do. I absolutely do. Yeah, it's certainly stuck in there. I'll say that.
Core memory.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, since then, that was back before I had an Xbox Live and all that. So over time, we eventually just picked up the maps as they came out, and I've just kind of stuck with it since.
Nice.
So,
And
sorry.
as you alluded to, you built a channel around the soundtrack.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of brought you into, or made you decide to start uploading the tracks?
Well, it's always been an element, I think. Like I say, even in the early days with the Kevin Sherwood and all of his music and Brian Chewy and all that. Something about their music's always just really resonated with me. I'm sure it has for a lot of people, yourself included, I'd imagine.
That's where I found you.
Yeah, there you go. And I just looked online and felt like there wasn't really a whole lot of people doing it. It wasn't until like Shadows of Evil, I believe, where they really started fleshing out these soundtracks and adding a lot of, unique elements to each map. And I don't know, I just felt like people should be able to access that sort of thing. There's clearly a market for it, so why not?
Absolutely.
Yeah, why not provide it? Considering it was a bit of a niche at
Yeah.
the time. I believe, was it Riese? I believe he did soundtrack very briefly a couple of years back during Black Ops 3, and I think that's where I got the inspiration initially. But he stopped doing it, so I just kind of picked up where he left off, really. Because he only did a few bits and bobs, so I thought, why don't we just get, a complete encyclopedia almost of everything
you
that you can
certainly
get.
are very thorough.
Maybe used to be. Maybe not so much these days. With Cold War, it's gotten messier and messier with campaign tracks and licensing and ugh. So it is something that I hope to continue in the future, but we'll see how that goes. Depending on where they choose to go with the soundtrack. Are you wanting to talk about the soundtrack and that anymore, or are you want to take this on to the next topic?
Well, the only thing I kind of wanted to really discuss was what was the first video that you remember uploading on the soundtrack, and also what was your most popular video so far?
Ooh, the first one, I want to say it was the Horizon track. I could be wrong. Someone might have to fact check that. That's the first one I remember uploading. I think it was like My Brother's Keeper, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was something like that, because I remember it was after Shadows of Evil that I started doing it. But I think Apocalypse Averted was the biggest. The final track, I Live, orchestral, that one. I believe.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's still the biggest one. I'd have to check that, see if it's still the case now, but it wasn't the last time I looked. And I don't blame him. It's a great piece of music, it really is.
Oh, they smashed it out of the park in Black Ops 3.
They did. Like, Jack Wall's a hidden gem, like. He really
So
is.
glad he's doing. He did the Black Ops 6 multiplayer.
Oh, absolutely. It's got a lot of those
Funny because
Black Ops 2 hallmarks. With adrenaline.
Yeah, absolutely. If I remember rightly, I think it was Moon Destruction. Your video on Horizon Track. That's where I found you.
All right.
I kind of really lurked and followed ever since.
I don't remember if we ever talked about that, have we? Even outside of this? I don't know if you've ever mentioned that before. That was your first one.
Oh, that. Yeah. I remember completing the Horizon Track Easter egg.
Yeah.
On solo before all the mega gobblegums came out, so it was a real tough one to do.
Yeah.
And I fell in love with the short tune that plays when the rockets go hit the moon.
Yeah.
And I thought I just by chance sort of wondered if anyone had uploaded it, and yours was the first channel that actually popped up. I don't think you'd not long uploaded it as well. And I kind of scrolled back through some of your other videos. I thought, oh, this guy's onto something. I'll subscribe.
Yeah, it was, like I say, it definitely was. I think it was the right time, right place thing for the soundtrack, for sure. It seemed like I can't imagine a better game to have done it on than Black Ops 3. I really can't.
Mm-hmm.
Even Black Ops 4 it did have a great soundtrack. It wasn't quite as thorough, you know what I mean? It didn't quite strike people the same way Black Ops 3's did. And
I think Black Ops 4 didn't strike people in a lot of ways.
That's true. But yeah, with like and then being able to work backwards into Black Ops 2 and have Buried and Mob of the Dead and all that to cover. Yeah, I think starting Black Ops 2 was probably the best thing I could have done, to be honest.
Yeah.
And it's certainly a... Sorry, go on.
I was just going to say, you still got plenty to go over. I'm still waiting on that Monkey Bomb track, by the way.
Yeah, it's out of podcast. You have no idea how much I get threatened with this. Yeah, I do still plan on continuing, even with this podcast going, I do still plan on continuing to upload the soundtrack, especially for Black Ops 6 as it comes out. So we'll see how that goes and how easy of a process that might be. Depends on how frequently it'll be coming out, especially considering we're doing this now. But I do plan to keep it going for sure, because it's been a big part of the channel. It's the reason it's. I mean, I wouldn't say it's huge, but it's got as popular as it has. It's due to huge part due to that soundtrack. So it's like I said to you, Aidan, where it'll be nice to have something on the channel to say that we made, instead of just re-uploading someone else's content. Yeah. So that's one of the things I wanted to get out of this, personally.
I was going to say, I suppose this is kind of a good opportunity for you to kind of give the channel update, kind of what's to come, what's to be expected.
Yeah, sure.
I'm guessing the Call of Duties are going to go on Game Pass now. We're both on Xbox, by the way.
Yeah.
And so I'm guessing games like Vanguard and other kind of card games are going to go. Are you set any plans? Give us an update on your channel.
Well, like I say, currently, beyond the podcast, nothing's really going to change so far. Other than, like I say, I do want to pick up the content that we've been doing the last couple of years. So you can expect that going forward on top of this. And I'm hopefully looking into maybe adding some stuff from games we haven't done, like Extinction and maybe that sort of thing. But we'll see how that goes. I did start on it, as you know, Aidan. I sent you that image for it. But I have a horrible knack of starting things and never finishing them. So hopefully this won't add to that list. but we'll see. We'll see. Speaking of which, actually, that does translate pretty nicely into the Ether compilation.
I was going to ask about that.
So, I haven't worked on it for a while, I'll be completely honest. But I am planning on, as we go through, because this is just the pilot, but as we go through the main episodes, I'm going to release an episode of it, one map at a time, on the maps we cover. That way it's not, so much of an overbearing workload on top of the podcast. So, and now you've got a concrete date almost as to when you can expect that, because I know it's... Well, at least I think people want it. I don't have the facts to back that. I'm just assuming people do.
In the comments.
Exactly, yeah. If you want to see a huge compilation video with every bit of soundtrack in it, you could just listen to while you're working away or something, then just let me know. I will be more than happy to provide that. All right.
I think that kind of segues quite nicely into expectations. So we'll go over to what you guys as listeners can expect from this podcast. So I think Josh and I are going to aim for at least fortnightly, or 2 weeks for you Americans that listen.
Mm-hmm.
So every 2 weeks we're going to try and get an episode out to you guys. With the caveat that both myself and Josh live busy lives, and that this might affect the content drop. I'm also, as well as running a family and a job, I also am at university, so May time I'm probably going to get inundated with exams and essays. So,
absolutely.
We'll try and be as consistent as we can, and if things aren't going to be up to date, or if an episode isn't going to come out, we'll update you via Discord or the YouTube community tab.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep an eye out.
Yeah.
How long do you want to say that the episodes are going to be?
Well, we've talked in the ballpark of 45 minutes, but again, that's a very... it's not fixed in any way. It all depends on the map, because a map like Nacht and Untoten, for example, isn't going to get 45 minutes. There simply isn't enough there to cover it for 45 minutes, but we'll try.
Yeah.
We'll try and squeeze as much in there as we can, feasibly, without
it'd be like
becoming a checklist.
Absolutely. Like, it'll be, each episode will probably be about 45 minutes to an hour, and as Josh said, like, this may be longer or shorter depending on the topics.
Absolutely. And we're also planning on branching out to the other developers' takes on the mode and whatnot as time goes on. And what was it we spoke about before this, about uploading a more modern one for when, modern content comes out, like Black Ops 6, maybe throw in a fun as one here and there.
Yeah, so initially episodes are going to be a somewhat retrospective of every zombies map up to Vanguard, because I haven't played Vanguard, so I can't really give any input into that. And as Josh said, we're going to mainly be covering Treyarch iterations from World at War all the way through to Cold War.
Yeah.
And then after that, we'll probably cover either Exo Zombies or Infinite Warfare Zombies, and then World War II Zombies. We'll decide closer to the time. So we've got a big old series, and these aren't going to be necessarily your big in-depth retrospectives that you see from Riese or Chopper necessarily.
Though I would love to do that as a side note. I would not say no.
If you'd like to, Josh. It's just going to be these kind of retrospectives are going to be our own kind of thoughts, covering a range of topics like gameplay, story, soundtrack, development, Easter eggs, etc., etc.
Yeah.
But as Josh said before we started recording, we'll probably release some little bonus episodes if something more recent comes up, like a Black Ops 6 content drop, just so that we kind of keep up to date and relevant as well.
Yeah.
And we'll probably take breaks every now and then between games, just so that we keep ourselves fresh and not burnt out. But that's kind of our main series is going to be covering every single Call of Duty Zombies map up to Vanguard.
Yeah.
With smaller episodes just to keep up to date.
Yeah, like you say, it'll be more for like initial thoughts, that sort of thing.
Absolutely, and then you can tell us about what we can expect after this kind of retrospective series many episodes from now.
Ah, that's true. Well, let's hope we get there at least. But yeah, I think that's more or less most of that, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, we're going to be covering zombies, Call of Duty Zombies, quite heavily initially, but
yes,
as our kind of series comes to an end, we don't want this podcast to be exclusively zombies related, do we, Josh?
No, absolutely. We've seen what it's done to other content creators, having to try and branch out into other modes and have it not work because they've established themselves that way. So we're trying to be very careful not to fall into that trapping. So we're setting it now. We may branch out in the future, but for now,
we will branch out in the future.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. But for now,
that'll be to other games and media that we like, isn't it?
Yeah, but for now, it's going to be primarily zombies at the minute.
Yeah.
For the foreseeable future, at least, until we finish this retrospective, if you want to call it that.
For lack of a better word. Do you want to go over what we as content creators expect from our listeners?
Yeah, it's all the simple stuff, really. Just be kind to each other, really. We don't really want any of that horrible racism or stuff like that in here. Understand, though, if we can't curate everybody, people are going to say things. and there's nothing we can really do about that. But we would really appreciate an effort. And so, what should people expect from us then, Aidan?
Well, I think we've kind of gone over that quite extensively, fortnightly episodes. At the end of the day, this is Josh and mine own thoughts. What we say isn't set in stone. We encourage feedback and an open dialogue. I would say, be kind to us as we are finding our footing on the initial.
Absolutely, yeah. We are definitely not professionals in this venue at all, so it may take
we're very new to this.
Yeah, it's going to take a bit for us to find our footing, but we hope that you'll be willing to join us on that journey. As we,
that's what it is. It's a dialogue. It's a journey, discussion. We love chatting with people.
Yeah,
and seeing what other people think of the mode, and at the very end of it all, short and long of it, don't be a dick.
Exactly. It's ultimately, like zombies itself. It's just a game mode at the end of the day, which it's just a bit of dumb fun. There's no need to take it that seriously, So
Exactly.
just keep it simple,
Exactly.
and we'll all get along, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of dumb fun, shall we go over as a little bit of fun and maybe a little bit of a teaser of what our initial four maps, I should say, are going to be?
Absolutely.
Shall we go over what are the one thing that we like and dislike from each of the World at War maps? There are some rules. So we're in each game, as a kind of break. After, we're going to kind of go over one thing we like and dislike over each map. But we're breaking it up into segments. So for World at War, we're going to cover those 4 maps.
Yeah.
And then we'll do the same with Black Ops 1 and so on and so forth. And there are some rules. So, 1, only 1 atmosphere pick.
Right.
2, only 1 soundtrack pick. 3, Josh and I each get 1 like and dislike veto. So for some things that are painfully obvious, we might veto it.
Denizens.
4, just so that yeah, exactly. And then 4, one honourable mention, if any. Just otherwise we'll be rambling all day. And again, just to emphasise, these are our own opinions and don't necessarily reflect our views on the map as a whole.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like we said in the last thing. It's nothing to be taken seriously. It's just a bit of fun.
Absolutely. So starting off with Nacht and Untoten, do you mind if I kick us off with this, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
So the thing that I like about Nacht and Untoten, World at War, is the slow burn at the start of the game. It makes you feel very alone and uneasy.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
And it's like hearing the sounds and knowing that the zombies are slowly approaching, it really settles in like the very core of what the mode is about.
Absolutely. It's, like I say, it's like the most distilled version of zombies. Mm-hmm. Like, when you take away all of the extra elements they've added over the years. It's just the, it's just the formula at its peak, I suppose.
Absolutely. As for the thing I dislike, this might be just a World of War Nacht thing and might be a bit nitpicky, but I don't like the fact that all the zombies look like Ken dolls with glowing eyes.
I've just read it as you were saying it. Yeah,
they look a bit too clean and waxworth for my liking.
Absolutely, yeah. They were definitely. It was definitely a budget mode at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, and like I can appreciate it for what it is, but yeah. What about you?
Well, honestly, more of the same, really. Like I said, I think we both picked the atmosphere pick for this one. Just like I said, the feeling of isolation and all that, and like I said, it immediately sets the mood for the franchise, and I think it does it in the best possible way, really.
Absolutely.
And I think the difficulty of it also kind of adds to that, because of how intensely difficult it can be. could be very in your face, which isn't really an experience you
Yeah.
get in zombies much nowadays, especially with recent maps. But for dislikes, kind of, part and parcel of what I just said, can almost be the challenge because of how basic it is. It can be very overwhelming at times, especially on the earlier iterations where zombies had the sticky hands.
The Gersh hands, as we call them.
Yeah, those exactly. Yeah, they made it very unfair at times, and I feel like that rubbed off on the map a bit. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of has the association with Nacht of you getting stuck all the time. But,
yeah, I've been caught on a couple of bad situations.
Same here, but to be fair, nothing could be worse than Infinite Warfare's zombie collision. So, they somehow made it worse in that, and I don't know how they did it. But but beyond that,
spoilers.
Yeah, we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves here. So
okay,
just wrapping up what I was going to say real quick. Yeah, that point that I made is null from pretty much every version after World of War. So I couldn't really think of anything in the modern versions that I outright dislike. Other than it being basic, but I don't think it would be fair to hold that against it,
Yeah.
It's basic by design.
Just as a point of reference, these likes and dislikes are strictly talking about the World of War iterations. We weren't going to cover the Black Ops 1 ports or the Chronicles remasters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chronicles will probably get its own like and dislike as a whole, but right now we're focusing on the World of War maps themselves.
Yeah, that works for me. Alright.
Talk us through Verrückt.
Alright, so for Verrückt, one of the things that I always liked about it was the addition of the new Super Splinter zombies. And while I do almost despise them in every release since Call of the Dead, there's something about their implementation there that just works for me. They have like a haunting vibe to them. You know what I mean? The way they move, the shovel-handed sprint, and how quickly they shoot round corners. It's just been something that's always stuck with me. You know what I mean?
I remember a couple of times where I've like run down the hallway where double tap is after running up the stairs.
Exactly.
And I just look around for a split second and they are all just pelting around that corner, and I'm just like, oh shit.
It's genuinely frightening on top of the atmosphere of the map. It can be very intimidating. And I don't feel like I get that experience with a lot of maps that we get nowadays.
Absolutely.
But for stuff I didn't like, it's probably the map flow. I feel like as you open the map a bit, once you've got it doesn't loop around very well, in my opinion. You know what I mean? It becomes very easy to get trapped. You will not last long in Verrückt, regardless of how good you are as a player. It is incredibly difficult to keep a loop going throughout the entire map. And it's a shame because I really enjoyed the map and I wish that I could play it for longer. But it's almost impossible due to how it's laid out and the lack of Pack-a-Punch, even in its Black Ops 3 iteration. But what about you?
I suppose it's probably... I was just going to say real quick, I suppose it's probably a good thing that Verrückt didn't release with the Black Ops 4 spawning zombies.
Yeah.
Spawn in front of you.
Voyage of Despair.
Yeah. I guess I kind of might have cheated a little bit here, but this was my real kind of atmosphere pick. Verrückt has such an unsettling
Come on, Aiden.
atmosphere.
How can we expect other people to follow our rules if we can't follow our own?
I know. I have to be a politician. Okay, let me think of something else I might.
No, you can use it. You've already written it down.
How about this instead? I like that the weapons are split between a German side and an American side. It really kind of makes each side feel unique, in my opinion.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. To be honest, it's never something like, until you mentioned it to me outside of the podcast, I never noticed it. I was never aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a really cool detail.
Uh,
I'm surprised that neither of us mentioned the split spawns.
I
thought for sure
I was
that would
almost
come up.
going to. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I was almost going to veto that because that's such a good pick, and
Yeah.
I wish we had a true iteration of that come back.
Yeah, that's
Then
fair.
it might cop out. As for the thing I dislike about Verrückt, it's the Springfield. It's the weakest gun in World
Lord.
of War. Like, I think even when people manage to kind of console command pack-a-punch it, it's still really weak.
Yeah, I think
Like,
you're right.
a
there.
wet paper towel could hit harder.
Isn't it also like, I don't know if it's rumor or if it's actually been fact checked, but aren't the iron sights on it misaligned so it doesn't pop heads when it should? You have to
think
aim
so.
slightly to the left or slightly to the right to get headshots.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. I just find it hilarious that a full mag of the Springfield
Just does nothing.
doesn't kill a zombie outright on round one, more or less, unless
Yeah.
you're going for headshots. Whereas the M1911, you could easily put 2 zombies down if you're going for headshots alone.
Yeah, absolutely. Alright.
Okay, DLC 2, Shino Numa.
Yeah, do you want to lead us in with this one?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing I love about Shino Numa, one of the things I really love, it's my favourite World of War Zombies map, which might come as a surprise. But the thing that I really like, and they, as far as I'm aware, they haven't introduced back in other iterations of Shino Numa, is that when you open certain areas of the map, like if you're going to the fishing hut or somewhere,
Oh yeah.
zombies will burst out of the water as soon as you open the door outside of the round. Like during round they'll come out of the water anyway, but as soon as you open the door, even if it's like one zombie left on the map behind you,
Yeah.
zombies will come out of the water, and I love that. It's such a good little feature.
It really is. I don't know why they didn't bring that back. At least I don't believe they did. Maybe they did.
It's certainly not in the Black Ops 1 port, and I don't believe it is in the Chronicles one, but I could be mistaken on that.
I can't remember if it's in Vanguard. I couldn't
I wouldn't know,
tell.
I haven't played Vanguard.
I can't tell you. I can't remember.
Fair enough. As for the thing I dislike about Shino Numa, honestly it's a hard thing to choose, but I had to go for the random perks. Like, they're a novelty, but they're probably the weakest part of the map in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Random perks are never really fun.
See, I wouldn't mind if they were handled like Shadows of Evil, where you could see where they were going to be in advance, but that kind of takes the point of them being random out. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
At least Shino Numa isn't like a map where you feel like you'd be punished by not knowing where they are, because it's quite easy to get on your feet on Shino Numa.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So it kind of
It's just
it plays into that map's favour a bit.
I've just been caught out a couple times where like I've had enough to open the doors and get Jug if I needed it,
Yeah.
and then it ends up being something like double tap, and the last perk that I find is Jug, and at that point it's probably like round like 10, maybe even 15.
Exactly.
It's like a slow game.
It's got Nuketown syndrome.
Well, yeah, spoilers, I don't like Nuketown.
I was gonna say, to be fair, we could probably take that as a given. For this one.
What about you? Go tell us what you like and dislike about Shino Numa.
So yeah, what I've got here, it would have been my atmosphere pick, I think, if I hadn't already kind of mentioned it in Nacht. Would you take what I said as Nacht as an atmosphere pick?
I mean, you did say earlier when that is you even said that it's an atmosphere.
With Nacht? Let me just roll back. Yeah, right you are. Okay. We'll admit that then. Well, what I've written down here anyway was I like that every section of the map like gives you something new to mess around with, like whether it be traps or transport methods or hazards like the mud. or the meteorite. You know what I mean? There's something in each of the 4 sections that give you a reason to go there, and I think that's something that not a lot of maps can brag about. You know what I mean? Like, there's always something to find in Shinonuma.
The radio hut where the hidden Easter egg song is.
Oh yeah, and the mysterious radio from, I know we're doing World at War versions here, but Black Ops 1 I've still never been able to activate with the Marines.
Yeah, I've never found that either.
As far as dislikes go, I feel like for Shinonuma, you know, while its simplicity is its strength, I feel like it can also be to its disadvantage, if you know what I mean. It feels like it's the Nacht and Verrückt experience, like, you know, all wrapped up, but without the added difficulty that made it, like, you know, exhilarating to play those earlier maps. Whereas Shinonuma can get a bit redundant and a bit safe. But I feel like Riese skirts that because it has the Pack-a-Punch, and it makes those later rounds a bit more exciting because you can still continue to play. But I don't feel like you get that with. I feel like adding Pack-a-Punch in Chronicles would have fixed Shinonuma for me. 100%.
Yeah.
I actually really like. I know it's kind of heresy to say, but I do actually kind of like the Vanguard version of Shinonuma. Strictly because it has Pack-a-Punch. It's such a game changer.
That's totally fair. Shinonuma almost feels like the forgotten child of World at War, really, because like Nacht was the first zombies map ever.
Yeah,
so that's its claim to fame. Verrückt had both the atmosphere, but it introduced the perks.
Yeah,
and then Riese introduced Pack-a-Punch, and that's really where the story kind of kicked off.
Absolutely.
But Shinonuma kind of just falls by the wayside a little bit in some people's estimates.
To be fair, I won't sell it short. It did give us the Wonderwolf and the Hellhounds.
That's true. And the characters.
And the characters, yeah. So it has introduced things, but I feel like, I suppose on World at War they did add
that people remember.
They did add to the longevity because, you know, you can kill an entire horde on World at War with the Wonderwolf that you can't do in later versions.
That's true.
But yeah, I don't know. That's just how I feel about it. I don't think it's bad. I don't dislike the map at all. I just think it's a bit safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I said, a very forgotten child, really.
Yeah, it doesn't have the hook. That's how I'd put it. For me, personally. But I love the atmosphere. Yeah. I would pick it if I hadn't already.
Alright, what about Riese?
I assume I'm taking point on this one then.
Yep.
Alright, so kind of elaborating on what I've just been talking about, probably the advent of Pack-a-Punch. Probably one of the best mainstays we have in zombies. You know what I mean?
Very much a staple.
It would not be anywhere near as fun, I feel, without Pack-a-Punch. And especially in World at War, like I've said here, my favourite element of it was that it made guns behave differently, certain weapons, which isn't something you sadly get very much anymore. So
would you say? Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
Say, like, would you say that World at War probably had the most diverse Pack-a-Punch weapons in terms of how they
honestly, I think it's Black Ops 1. I'm sure I asked you this. Like, one of the things we like to do from time to time, we do these quizzes, don't we? Outside of the game. So, outside of the podcast, we just do it for fun. And that was one of the things I actually asked, was whether which game had the most, like, it was something like that, wasn't it? Had the most, like,
something like that.
Yeah, had the most, like, Pack-a-Punch variants that would change the way the gunfight. And I believe it was Black Ops 1 that has the most different variants of weapons when upgraded.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. Someone will have to fact check me on that, but that's how I remember it, at least. But for dislikes, it's probably one that would probably get vetoed, I'd imagine, but the fly trap.
Yeah?
While I enjoyed the idea as an experiment, I think something even just as simple as, like, you know, a powered up, a max ammo would have been enough.
Oh, it's like a reward.
Yeah, I'm not asking, like, I'm not saying they should have implemented like a perkaholic or a wonder weapon giver out or something like that, but just a max ammo or double points, just, you know, just something to make the whole thing feel a bit more worthwhile. But I will say, in fairness, it did have its intended effect back when it first came out, because I remember still thinking, oh, there's got to be more, there's got to be more. And you're digging around the map trying to trigger other things for hours and hours. So if that was the effect they were going for, then they got it with flying colours, as far as I'm concerned. Because it kept me playing for hours after we finished it. Just thinking there's got to be a bit more to it than that. Which is just, it's a highlight of early zombies, isn't it? When you're like, there's got to be more.
Oh, absolutely. Like, early zombies just was full of theory crafting and
absolutely.
rumours.
It wouldn't be half of the mode it is without that theory crafting.
Absolutely. Zombie leader of Germany in the 1940s.
Yeah, what was it?
Around 50.
Yeah. And the whole spinning around the box thing to make you still get a wonder weapon. All the classics.
We're gonna have to go do an episode on just rumors in zombies, and
that sounds like a really fun series.
Like
actually, I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you? What did you like and dislike?
I was just gonna say real quick that the fact that the flytrap Easter egg doesn't give a reward was fixed in the Giant. To be fair,
it was, yeah. I would have saved that to the Giant when we do that one.
Ah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, spoilers. So my like for Riese is that it's the storytelling in that map. Radios, even the map design itself, like going through animal testing or to Maxis's office. Like, the map tells a story, and that really kicks off what happened happened in the map, and really kicks off the story as a whole.
Yeah.
Samantha was introduced. I don't know whether or not it was intended, or if it was kind of pushed in, but the fact that you can see Griffin Station through a sniper rifle on the moon. I know it's meant to be Zombie Paris as DLC for Black Ops 1, but now everyone says it's Griffin Station, but it's just little nuggets of story like that really kind of make that map feel so alive.
Yeah, absolutely. It was full of little stuff like that. Even one of the best parts of the map for me as well was sorry to hijack.
That's okay, go away. Go ahead, sorry.
Was the sound cues and that around the map, like the nursery rhymes when you're at the catwalk window, or the sirens in the background. It was full of creepy details that played so well into the narrative they had going in the background.
Mm-hmm. It had when you take a teleporter.
Yeah, Riese for me always had, I don't know, a horrifying vibe to it. There was just something about it that just felt off. And I really liked that about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And even something simple like the ash falling from the sky, it just, the map feels just, as I said, so alive.
It really does, yeah.
As for dislikes, I really struggle to think of anything, and this is such a huge nitpick, and it isn't anything necessarily wrong with the map itself, but I think it's starting, the World at War version anyway, is starting to show its age. I find the Black Ops 1 port looks worse than the World at War version, but I can't really think of anything else to dislike about the map. Overall, it's a solid map.
It really is the what would you say, the definition of just okay, you know what I mean? I don't want to say it's bad, but it's just it's
Riese is probably the gold standard of what you expect from a zombie map.
Yeah.
It's got its perks, it's got its side Easter eggs, it's got, I know the fly trap isn't necessarily a main Easter egg, but it's for all intents and purposes, it's got an Easter egg.
Yeah.
It's got the music, it's got Pack-a-Punch, it's got all the mainstays and hallmarks of what the zombies map is at its core.
Exactly, yeah.
Other maps in the future have improved on that formula, but like as a gold standard, Riese is where it's at.
Absolutely, yeah. I would like for me personally. I know you like Numa, but for me it's definitely Riese, my map of choice for World at War, 100%.
I think you and many other people, or I think many other people would agree with you.
It just encapsulates, like you say, the highs of World at War so well.
Mm-hmm.
It's got all the highlights from like Nacht, Numa, and Verrückt all wrapped into one.
Absolutely.
Although I will say, to be fair with Numa, it still isn't particularly difficult. But I would say it's harder than Numa.
Yeah, that's fair.
If you're not camping the catwalk anywhere.
Yeah, I tell you what, I thought of a better dislike other than it showing its age. I wasn't sure whether this was going to get vetoed or not, but it's the fact that the Wonder Waff takes Jug away.
Yeah, I'd include that. But isn't it like, didn't it come out that was a deliberate design choice instead of a bug? Which is infuriating.
I know, yeah, I remember
Why?
you telling me about that and I was really surprised.
Like, why?
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I think that pretty much covers everything for that, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So I guess
all that's left to do is say goodbye and what's to come,
we should probably,
etc., etc.
yeah, should probably just talk about what we're going to do with the first proper episode, because obviously this was just a pilot, and we're not really taking anything too seriously this time. But next time we are going to be covering Nacht, aren't we? Extensively.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it'll be.
As
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, as I said earlier, we'll be covering things like soundtrack, the map itself, story if any, development, gameplay, all the juicy stuff that makes a map. So
Yeah.
and Nacht and Untoten will be our first one.
Absolutely. And also, just to clarify for the podcast listeners and for me, are we covering all editions of Nacht in one?
I think so. Yeah.
So
I think that's what we're going to do.
right. So it's Nacht in all of its forms, not just
Nacht in World at War, Nacht in Black Ops 1 Port. I don't know. Do you want to do Chronicles, like cover the maps as part of individuals in the episodes, or do you want to give Chronicles its own dedicated episode?
Yeah, I think we could maybe do that if you want. We could do Black Ops 1, Nacht, and World at War as one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then do Chronicles as its own. But what about...
I feel like Chronicles deserves its own kind of in-depth
Yeah, definitely, for sure.
episode.
So what about, like, Transit's Nacht?
I suppose we can mention it, but
Yeah.
that kind of comes under Transit, really.
Yeah,
Same with
that's true,
Deep
yeah.
Machine.
Okay, yeah, that works. Alright, so...
Cool. Well, I hope we both hope that you guys have enjoyed listening to us ramble on for
Yeah.
nearly
48
an hour.
minutes.
Hi. Please don't forget to do the YouTube pleasantries. Josh and I hate this part, but it's got to be done.
But if you say subscribe, it makes the icon glow. So. So there you go. There's a reason to click it.
Yep. Yeah. Like, share, subscribe. Go back and listen to some of the soundtracks that Josh has uploaded. He's got a full library on it. And comment on what you think, how this episode went, and what you guys would like to see. Because ultimately, we want to tailor this for you, the listeners.
Absolutely, yeah. As fun as it is for us to do, if you feel like we should change the layout or anything like that, we'd love to hear it. Because we want to make it as palatable to listen to as possible, preferably.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And also, for the Nacht and Untoten episode, tell us your thoughts in the comments, or if you're on Discord, Josh has a Discord, by the way.
It should be in the description. Should be.
Yep. Join the Discord and just let us know what you think of, like, what your thoughts are on Nacht and Untoten.
Yeah.
And that should hopefully be released not next week, but the week after.
Aye, with any luck, depending on when we get this uploaded, that is. But we shall see.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But yeah,
All right. Well,
yeah, it's been great. Been great talking to you while doing this.
yeah, you too. You take it easy.
You too.
Bye.
See ya.